All right, hey everyone, let's jump right in, shall we? Today's deep dive, prepping you for a media scientist interview. You ready for this?
Ready when you are.
So I gotta say, RoleCatcher really came through this time.
They did.
A career guide and an interview guide. Talk about a power combo.
Seriously, you're not just getting interview tips here, you're getting a peek behind the curtain, like what it really means to be a media scientist.
Okay, so let's dive into some of these questions. First up, how about what inspired you to pursue a career in media science? Seems simple, but
Oh, it can be deceptively tricky. Easy to just list off qualifications,
yeah.
but think about it. They're looking for that spark. Why this field? What got you hooked?
So it's like a personal story.
Exactly. Weave in an anecdote, something memorable. Show them your enthusiasm is genuine.
Makes sense. Now, what if they follow up with, can you share a specific example of a media campaign that really resonated with you and why?
Ooh, good one. Think about a campaign that truly grabbed you and break it down. Why did it work? The message, the visuals, where it was shown, that kind of thing.
This is where having that RoleCatcher AI could be huge, right? I mean, it can analyze your answers, make sure you're hitting the right notes for the specific job you want.
It's wild. Not about giving you some cookie cutter response. It's about highlighting your strengths, tailored to each job description. Like, how cool is that?
Okay, next question. Can you explain a complex media concept to someone who has no background in the field? This feels like they're testing your communication skills big time.
Oh, absolutely. Can you take something complex, make it clear? No jargon, just plain language anyone can get. Think how you'd explain it to, like, your grandma.
Right. Make it engaging. Now, what if they throw a curveball and ask, how would you explain this concept differently to a group of executives?
Ooh, good point. Now you got to adapt.
Yeah.
Executives, they care about the bottom line. So
Yeah.
focus on impact, strategy, how understanding this concept can help them make decisions, lead to success, all that.
This is so helpful. And you know what? RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually had some pretty eye-opening stats. Like, this field is projected to grow 10% in the next decade.
Yeah, it's booming.
It's a fast-paced environment, but hey, potential for high salaries. Not bad.
Not bad at all. But it's more than just the numbers, right? It's the impact you can have. Understanding how media shapes our world. That's huge.
Okay, next question. How do you stay up to date with the latest trends and developments in media science? Feels like a chance to show you're a lifelong learner.
It is. And don't just say, I read a lot. Get specific. Mention publications, podcasts, thought leaders, maybe even a new social media platform you're trying out. Show them you're actively seeking knowledge.
Love it. And what if they dig deeper? Like, what's a recent media trend that's caught your attention and why?
Pick something that genuinely excites you. A new platform, a shift in how people consume news, whatever. And talk about its potential impact. Show you're not just keeping up, you're thinking ahead.
That's where RoleCatcher's Get Discovered feature is so cool, right? Employers can actually find you based on your skills, so highlighting those trends. Smart move.
Totally. It's like putting a spotlight on your expertise. Can't hurt in a competitive job market.
Okay, let's get analytical. How do you measure the effectiveness of a media campaign?
They want to see those analytical skills in action. Don't just mention likes and views. Dig deeper. Engagement, conversion rates, all that good stuff. Show them you understand how data translates to real-world outcomes.
Right. Got to connect the dots. Now, imagine they say, give me an example of a campaign you analyzed and what metrics you used to evaluate its success. How would you approach that?
Choose a campaign that's relevant to the job you're applying for. Break down the key metrics. Why did those matter? How did they inform your analysis? Demonstrates critical thinking,
Again, RoleCatcher's AI can be a big help here, right? Practice, get feedback tailored to specific jobs. I mean, it's like having a personal data analyst in your corner.
Right, helping you craft those insightful, impactful answers.
Okay, one more before we move on to part 2. Can you give an example of how you've applied media science to solve a real-world problem? Time to show off your experience.
Absolutely. Pick a project where you made a tangible difference. Maybe you helped a nonprofit reach more people or use data to improve a company's marketing. Focus on that impact.
Okay, and what if they follow up with, what were the biggest challenges you faced in this project and how did you overcome them?
Honesty is key here. Every project has challenges. But focus on your problem-solving skills. Did you have to learn a new tool, collaborate with a tough team, show them you can navigate those obstacles and still succeed?
You know, this is where those RoleCatcher skills guides come in handy. They break down essential skills for different career stages, highlighting those in your answers. Solid move.
It's like proving you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. You get the skills needed and you USC them. We've covered a lot here, but guess what? We're just getting started.
That's right. Join us for part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into the world of media science interviews.
It's amazing, right? These role catcher guides, they don't just prep you for the interview, they give you this whole picture of what a career in media science could be like.
Absolutely. Speaking of careers, let's jump back into those interview questions.
Mm.
We left off talking about real-world problem solving, right? Okay, get this. What are some of the biggest challenges facing the media industry today, and how can media science help address them?
Ooh, yeah.
This one feels like they want more than just, listing off problems. They want to see you're thinking about the bigger picture.
Right. It's about insights. The whole media landscape is changing, new technologies popping up all the time. So how can media science help us navigate all that? Take personalized content, for example. It's huge right now.
It is.
And media scientists, they can help make sure those algorithms are used responsibly, ethically. That's a big deal.
Huge. It's like you're not just keeping up with the trends, you're actually shaping the future of media.
Yeah.
So what if they then ask, can you give a specific example of how media science is being used to tackle one of these challenges?
Good question. Think about something recent, something you find exciting. Maybe it's using AI to fight misinformation, or how VR is changing storytelling. Explain how these advancements are actually making a difference and the role media scientists play.
This is where that industry trends section in RoleCatcher is so useful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gives you a good overview of what's shaping the media landscape. Could spark some ideas.
Totally, like having a cheat sheet for the big picture. And speaking of big picture, how about this one? Can you describe a time when you had to analyze a large data set to identify trends and insights? What were your key findings, and how did you communicate them to stakeholders?
Classic. Data analysis core skill. Got to be prepared for this one.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to just say you're good with numbers, right?
Nope, got to show them your process. What software did you use? What challenges did you hit? And here's the kicker. How'd you turn those complex findings into a story stakeholders could actually understand and act on?
That's the key. Now imagine they say, walk me through your presentation to stakeholders. How did you tailor your message to their specific needs and concerns?
Communication skills time. So explain how you thought about your audience, their technical level, their priorities. Did you use visuals, storytelling? Show them you can adapt your style to different people.
Okay, this is another spot where that RoleCatcher AI can shine, right? Practice your answer, get feedback on how clearly you're communicating that data-driven story.
It's like having a communication coach right there. The AI can even check your language, make sure you're avoiding jargon, using terms everyone gets.
Super helpful. All right, ready for another one? Here it is. Describe a time when you had to present your research findings to a non-technical audience. How did you adapt your communication style to ensure clarity and engagement? Kind of similar to the last one, but really focusing on making complex stuff accessible.
Right. It's about bridging that gap between data and understanding. So think of a time you had to explain something complicated to someone outside your field, maybe a client presentation, or even just explaining your work to friends and family.
A skill we all need these days, for sure. Now, what if they ask, what strategies did you use to simplify complex information without losing its essence?
Time to show off your communication toolbox. Analogies, metaphors, visuals. Maybe you found a way to connect the data to a personal story, something the audience could really relate to.
That reminds me of something in the RoleCatcher Career Guide. They stress that media scientists are increasingly expected to communicate complex info to all sorts of audiences.
It's true.
Like, it's not enough to just be a data whiz anymore. You got to be a storyteller, too.
Totally. Stories are powerful. They help people connect on an emotional level, way more engaging than just spitting out facts and figures.
Okay, switching gears a bit. How do you approach staying informed about emerging media platforms and technologies? Why is this important for a media scientist? They're looking for that commitment to continuous learning, I think.
Definitely. Show them you're not just keeping up, you're looking ahead. How do you stay ahead of the curve? Industry blogs, conferences, trying out new platforms yourself.
Yeah. And then they might ask, tell me about a recent emerging media platform or technology that's caught your eye and why. How would you handle that?
Pick something that genuinely interests you. New social media platform, VR experience, whatever's got you thinking. And explain why. What's its potential impact? Show them you're not just aware of trends, you're analyzing them.
And RoleCatcher's knowledge and learning section is a goldmine for this, right?
Yeah.
Lots of insights into the skills and knowledge you need to stay ahead in this field.
It's a good reminder that learning doesn't end after graduation, especially in media science. You got to keep learning if you want to stay relevant.
So true. Okay, teamwork time. Can you describe a time when you had to collaborate with a team member who had a different communication style or work approach than yours? How did you navigate this situation?
Ah, yes, the collaboration question. It's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But especially important in a field like this, where you're working with people from all different backgrounds.
Exactly. They want to know you can handle those differences.
Yeah.
So pick an example that shows you can communicate clearly, listen well, find common ground.
Right. And then they might follow up with, what specific strategies did you use to bridge the communication gap and ensure a successful collaboration?
How would you answer that?
Focus on what you did to understand your teammates' perspective.
Mhm.
Did you have regular check-ins, use visuals to explain your ideas? Whatever it was, show that you put in the effort to make that relationship work.
This is where that role catcher section on typical interactions is helpful, right?
Yeah.
It gives you insight into how teams actually function in media science.
It's a reminder that good communication is about more than just getting your point across. It's about building understanding, trust.
Okay, time to address the sometimes awkward question. What are your salary expectations for this role?
Deep breath.
I know, right? But with some prep, it's manageable.
Definitely. Do your research. RoleCatcher has salary info, there's industry benchmarks. Be ready to discuss a range, but also be flexible, open to negotiation.
Good advice. Now, what if they say, justify your salary expectations? Why are you worth this amount?
Okay, time to sell yourself. Connect your skills, your experience, your achievements to what they're looking for. Show them your passion, your expertise, why you would be a valuable addition to their team.
I like that. And that pros and cons section in RoleCatcher can be helpful here too, right? Gives you a realistic view of the potential rewards and challenges, including salary, so you can frame your answer well.
It's good to keep the big picture in mind, weighing those rewards and challenges. So we've covered a lot in part 2, from data analysis to teamwork, even talking about salary.
We have. But guess what? There's still more to come. All right, welcome back for the final part of our Media Scientist Interview Deep Dive. Phew, I'm feeling ready to tackle anything after all that.
I know, right? It's been quite a journey, unpacking all those concepts, the data analysis, the storytelling. Media science is pretty amazing, huh?
Yeah, it's way more than I even realized. One thing that's really stuck with me is just how broad this field is. It's not just about numbers, it's about understanding people, culture, how media really shapes our lives.
That's such a key point. It's that human element that makes it so fascinating. Media scientists, they're not just analysts. They're like storytellers, strategists, ethical guides. They help us make sense of it all.
Totally. And speaking of making sense of things, let's talk about that RoleCatcher AI again.
Yeah.
Seriously, getting feedback tailored to specific jobs, it's like having a cheat code for interviews.
Right. I mean, it's more than just a cheat code. It's a strategic advantage. The AI analyzes your language, helps you plug any knowledge gaps, suggests ways to make your answers stronger.
It's amazing. Okay, let's tackle that final interview question, the one everyone dreads. Do you have any questions for us? Easy to just brush it off.
Don't. It's your chance to shine. Show them you're genuinely interested, engaged. Ask something insightful, something that shows you've been listening, you've done your research.
So what kind of questions are we talking about? Like, what makes a question stand out?
Avoid anything you could easily Google. Instead, dig deeper. Ask about the team's approach to innovation, their vision for the future of media science, the specific challenges of the role, stuff like that.
And this is where all that knowledge from the RoleCatcher guides comes in handy, right?
Exactly. Use those insights to ask intelligent questions. Spark a real conversation, leave a lasting impression.
You know, one of the things that surprised me most in the career guide was the emphasis on skills like psychology, philosophy, even fine arts. It's kind of random, right?
Right. But it makes sense when you think about it. Media science is all about human behavior, understanding culture, ethics. Those skills are more important than ever.
It's a good reminder that it's not just about being a data whiz, it's about being well-rounded, insightful, empathetic.
Exactly. So as you prep for your interview, remember that. Bring your unique blend of skills and experiences, your passion. Let your personality shine through.
Great advice. And don't forget, RoleCatcher is there to help you every step of the way. The resources can give you the knowledge, the confidence, the edge you need to absolutely crush that interview.
They really can. Best of luck with your interview, everyone. We're rooting for you.
And that's a wrap on our Media Scientist Interview Deep Dive. Hopefully you're feeling inspired, ready to take on the world of media.
Go get 'em.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive into a fascinating career.